Hey guys, and welcome to another LEGO Transformers video. Today's video is on Scourge, or Scourge, however you want to say it. So, my channel was already kind of capitalizing on Rise of the Beast coming out. I just got the motivation and got into making Transformers videos right when Rise of the Beast is announced, and well, not announced, but it's hot on the heels of release. And I start making videos a few months beforehand, where all the hype's going on, all the toys being revealed, and this guy's toy just got revealed. But this isn't specifically Rise of the Beasts Scourge, for anyone that's in the comments that's riding the movie hype. Oh no, this is a cross between that and one of the best designs for him, the RID 2001 Scourge. Also just known as a black version of Laser Prime, if anyone's seen the Laser Prime figure. This is gonna have some similarities to that. Well, basically just with the shoulders and nothing else, but in terms of transformation, he's very unique. So here he is in his truck mode. He's got some similarities to the movies. He's this rusty, long-nosed truck. He's got grates across. He's got a grate across his windshield. He's got the 2 exhausts, 6 wheels, this big mean-ass bumper, and some chains all over him. He's also got a mix of his RID color scheme of being black with the dark blue highlights, like this fender. But then he's also got some gray sections and just rust. So he is the story-wise with this guy. I did touch on with Rat Rod, the Rusticons are Autobots that have died and been rebooted, so they're just rusty bodies, basically, that are alive. They have a new personality. They can't stand any new alt modes. They're stuck with what they've got. Well, on the other side of that is when you have a reboot of an individual with Dark Energon in their system, they don't exactly get a normal reboot, and they become the Terracons, which are basically like zombies. They're completely brainless and roam around repeating whatever the last thing they said was. So their last sentence will be repeated, whether it's begging for their life or whatever. They'll just be repeating that over and over again. Scourge here or Scourge, however you want to say it, I'm going to go with Scourge, is a bit different to them. He was a clone of Optimus that was given its own unique alt mode that Megatron wanted to use as a body for himself, as a chance to be able to basically wield the matrix of leadership and have its power. And it backfired. The clone went mental and they killed it. But during its reboot, Unicron got involved and just kind of, through the fucked up corrupt matrix that was there from the cloning process, Unicron gave him his personality and everything. He was rusted and undead and had all the perks of that, like being very nearly indestructible. Not completely indestructible, but you kind of have to destroy every part of them before they just keep going. If you just explode their head, their body will keep going, and sometimes trying to rip off someone else's head to replace it. But Scourge here has intelligence and has personality and everything, and has a unique ability where he can command the other Terracons. They're kind of like just an army that will do whatever he says when he says it. So getting into his transformation, we're going to start by untabbing these chains. So there's a chain studded here on the other side and here. So we're going to untab those. On the other side, just all 4 of these chains and just leave them to hang there. Then going to swing out the smokestacks here. You can kind of consider that opening doors, but really these little panels would be the doors. So it's not really. Then going to ignore the back entirely for a minute. And we're going to come to the front here and separate it. And then the backpack is going to break off. Hold on. And we're then going to just flip him up here. And this reveals his actual chest and everything. I'm going to flip the head forward. I'm going to flip these down. I'm going to fold the front of the truck out while rotating in those tabs. This can break off very easily as it is just held on by single studs. So it's quite easy to break. We're then going to come to the legs here, which are the biggest pain in the arse. So I'm going to start by shifting these all the way up, rotating them, and folding them up. We're then going to, this will probably break off, and it's trying to break off, unfold the leg. He has a double jointed knee there. Surprisingly, the thing that broke off was the knee pad. And I'll actually break it off to show you the way this works. It has two T connectors. So he does actually have a swivel at either end of the knee as well. And then it just folds over. These are only held on by one stud, which is why he breaks so easily. I'm going to flip him around to the front. I'm going to fold the feet down, rotate them, flip them back up. These canisters are going to be the heels, so he can only really position them when he's on the ground. I'm going to take these knee pads and shift them to the middle more. Like that. I don't understand, we can then flip the head up, rotate his waist, bring these shoulders up, and then we're just going to take the smokestacks, flip and rotate. Do the same on the other side, just flip and rotate. Get him situated. Get him stood. There we have Scourge. In his robot mode. Scourge here is pretty cool. Bringing in a character like Lockdown. He is a tall Voyager. At least not going off of actual like figure scale. This is obviously more of like a deluxe sized character. With my figures, I downscaled them to make space for the display and to use less parts because I just like to build at a smaller scale. So this is what I would consider a Voyager size at my scale, but if he was an actual figure, he would just be a big Voyager figure. Or more likely because of accessories, a leader, because Hasbro. Like if you add an extra centimeter to the height of a figure, it immediately bumps up the price by like 50 fucking quid. Anyway, I'm going to ignore the fact that if I want to get the garbage Studio Series 86 Ironhide figure, I have to pay 50 fucking quid nearly. Just because. Bringing in his weapons here. We have his basic normal melee weapon. He's got a hammer. And for his other weapon, we have a hand-integrated thing inspired by the movie with the design, but this is his spark grabber. This can rip the spark out of the Cybertronian, essentially just killing them and fueling his strength. You can see these sort of R.I.D. inspired shit with the shoulders. They've even got the little rocket pods on them. And the fact that he's an Optimus clone. He's of course got a Decepticon badge because he is a dead Decepticon. And the Terracons I haven't really got a specific logo for the Terracons. But he's not really on either side. Of course his arms can be a little spindly, but he's got, technically you consider these built-in blasters. He's got chains dangling all over him. He's got ones hanging directly off his wrist. And also ones hanging off his pretty clean back. You can see the only real backpack there is this very, it sort of sleeks in and it's quite nice. The wheels just broke off his leg. See the chest side as well. It's a bit more movie inspired without like the fucking windshield and everything on there. Like a standard Optimus, but he has got this Optimus styled head going on. These corner pieces as well are just amazing for building Optimus or like any character with a similar mouth plate like Soundwave and all that, I recommend getting them. If you like building Transformers at any scale, because even at minifigure scale these work really well. It's just a really good simple Optimus head build. And I've used them on a couple other characters like Ultra Magnus, who I don't think I've made a video on yet. He doesn't usually have the mouth guard, but I wanted to give him the mouth guard, so he has the mouth guard. I mean, some of my characters even have actual minifigure heads, like Beast Wars Megatron literally just uses a minifigure head. And even, of course, we already seen him a while ago, Megatronus Prime. I guess for another size comparison, we'll bring in Bumblebee again. This is like my small deluxe size. Small to average size for my deluxes. See, he's just like just up to his knees. So it's a little bit of a weird scale where I don't have my deluxes as big compared to my Voyagers, like mainline stuff. Like these guys are smaller because they should be much smaller. It's little cars compared to a big truck. He should be a big fucking guy. Anyway. I think I'll just end the video here. Well, I guess we could go into articulation. Oh, we haven't actually put his weapons on him yet. As far as that. Can't do even that. So the spark grabber here comes in part first, so that pops off. And then put his hand out. This bit clips on the bottom of their hand. This bit clips on the top. And the hammer literally just pegs into the bar hole on the stud there. Giving a hammer and his spark grabbing soul grabber basically. These can be orientated in a different way as well. If you don't like this, you can bring these down like that. Can even get a little bit of rotation in there, but it's not. I'm not going to try it. Just breaks it usually, and it does put a little bit of tension on the pieces. So you can kind of orientate them like that. You can orientate them like that for a Toxitron vibe, and I might rebuild this guy into Toxitron, but even with usual recolor characters, I like to try and keep them original. Hence why, even though this character is a clone of Optimus, he is nothing like my Optimus build. In fact, he's actually taller. And articulation-wise, he's got some standard stuff and some unique stuff. Ball joints at the top of the shoulders and at the waist. So he has swivel and all that, and it's completely unimpeded ball joint at the waist as well. Elbows are just a very 90-degree bend, kind of boring. The legs can get a full forward and backwards, out, side to side, and again with the knees, you have a bend there and a bend there, giving a double knee, giving him a lot of knee range. The feet basically have nothing. Whether they have more than what my usual figures have, I don't usually have any foot articulation. You got a toe down and a little bit of wiggle. So you can splay his feet out. So I like to stand in, and his heels can fucking rotate around and shit, but it's more just transformation. Hell, his knee pads can wiggle if you want. Let's get a nice close-up of him. Isn't he beautiful? I'm actually really proud of him as well, because as you guys will know from most of my builds, I use ball joints for everything, like the mini ball joints. He only has 3, one at the top of each arm and then one at the waist. Everything else is all like different clips and things, working in different ways. The T-bar knee joint is really neat. For hitting a knee fold with any figure, I recommend that a lot as a joint in general for elbows and knees. You just kind of use these rounded plates and a T-bar on each side, and then a peg hole for the T-bar to go into. Just a very simple, effective joint for smaller mechs. Even a little bit for bigger ones. It's quite a stiff friction joint. if you don't want to get into ratchets that impede you a little bit and are kind of ugly. Anyway, that is Scourge, the leader of the Terracons. I hope you guys enjoyed this look at the character, and I'll see you all in my next video, which will be on, I would say the Insecticons, but I've only got one shot and kickback, so the trio isn't finished. And with like teams, I like to do big group videos for the teams, when I have the teams done at least. I haven't been able to do that for Team Char because everyone's separate, and like Oil Slick is currently stuck until I make Dead End, so there's some bits here and there. But ignoring that, that won't be happening with the Seekers either, because in my canon, Starscream's the only one that's currently alive. I might get a bit more in depth in like the storyline going on with my ones and with my Transformers and the explanations of why some of them look so different and what's kind of going on with it. It's sort of like a dystopian cyberpunk type thing, but I might make a video explaining it and like going over some lore and stuff, and sort of like talking points on the story, kind of like a reading, but not really. I do want to make it a comic eventually, but I don't like my art style enough to happily publish a comic. But with that being said, this has been Scourge, inspired by the Rise of the Beast film. Let me know in the comments if you guys are going to pick up the new Studio Series one that looks amazing. I know people are complaining about the leg kibble, but looking at the actual thing, it is accurate. He does have these weird scoops on the back. I'm looking forward to that figure, and this is coming from someone who usually avoids movie figures like the plague. But you know you guys' thoughts on this figure in the comments section below. And another thing with this guy, if you want to build like a Laser Prime version or Toxitron or any of the other recolors of the Laser Prime mold, remove the chains from him, maybe ditch these arm exhausts, and then like a few other things like change the vents out on there for actual windows, change this chest design. You can basically make any of those characters using this as a basis. You might have to remove the knee pads as well and change that out, but who cares? That is Scourge. I'll see you all in the next video, which I have no idea who it will be. Might get into another member of the Decepticon Justice Division. I say that, just realized I haven't even posted a video on Tarn. I'll build it up to Tarn. I'll do some of the others first. With that being said, once again, doing an outro. I do this a lot. I'm going to end the video now.